Okay, you're in the Glogster. I'm going to show you how to do basic setup. So I'm going to guide you through using the example that I've listed in Module 2. And eventually it will open. There we go. So it's going to load it in this frame. All right, so what I've done is I've started with 7th grade standard for social studies. So the standard here is you play the role of yourself in this web quest. You are searching for your past and a context for your family within recent historical events. Okay, again, we're immersing the students in a role, and that's kind of important for the web quest, as well as giving kind of an overarching reason why they're doing this. Okay, the actual indicator is interpret relationships between events shown on multiple tier timelines. So that's, again, the content standard for social studies in 7th grade. I've created a little video applet here. I can show you when we actually build structure what that's going to look like. And it can bring into your webcam. It can tie in and capture. So step one, the process is introduced. This is narrative research. So talking to your ancestors, you need to interview your parents and preferably more senior members of your family, such as your grandparents or great-grandparents. Ask them questions about prior generations. Try to collect the following information: full names, dates and locations of births and marriages, dates and locations of deaths. Assuming you have gone back 3 or 4 generations, go to familysearch.org. Okay, so this, if I hover over it, you can see it's a link to see if you can pull data from earlier generations. I'm going to click there. Okay, so unless the kids are doing research on the web, which they're doing right now in this case, it's not a web quest. So you got to make sure that they're engaged online, learning a skill set, gathering information, something along those lines. So I'm going to hit search. And we will search for E from Ellis, and search in England, and see what comes up. And I put Kent in there, and so in Plumstead, Kent, so I go back, so let's say my grandparents told me that Ephraim happened to be one of their grandfathers, my grandfather's grandfather. And then I can have the realization that John Ellis and Eliza were his parents because I know that he was born in Kent, and it's a probability that of these names in Kent, right, that I've gotten an oral history that tells me that this is the case, okay, and it fits the timeline because of the year of birth. So my students would take that and make annotations of that. Then what they would do is they go here and they try to map out a family tree using this program here. So it says pick the earliest birth of one of your ancestors, create an event timeline, so we can scroll down there. Create a timeline for their life events, birth, marriage, death, with their timeline put in 10 key events in American history that occurred. All right, so what they do is they go here, they use this tool here to create a timeline, so they create a timeline of events. We're going to use this as an assignment in the future. Then they label them, okay? And then we go back here, actually back here, And then I'd have them look up the historical events. So I know that Ephraim was born in 1852. So if they're on here, I put that there. Create a new one in space. And of course, I could change coloration, etc. on there. And then I'd look for another event that is in U.S. history for the same year. So in that case, I can actually guide them to the website. And then I realize that my website doesn't go back as far as that. So U.S. historical event by year. And then I will find 1852. And we find that the first British public men's toilet opens up, which is really important. Yeah, that one's like super important, so we'll do that. Okay, we will also Ohio makes it illegal for children under. So we could also go by kind of thematic events. I particularly like that work, so I'm going to use that. So again, they go back to their timeline. Go in here. And put that. Okay, so again, our goal here is on to be able to put, on the same timeline two different types of events. So they're putting their family history, and then they're also putting something that's nationally representative of the time. Step 4, assignment requirements: print and turn in your family tree. Print and turn in the timeline. Take a look at the rubric before you do so. And then go to Ruby Star for Teachers, and you'll see that I've created a rubric, which I'm going to cover in another lecture. So again, transparency. So an accurate complete date has been. The timeline contains at least 8 to 10 events, so quantity. Facts were accurate for all events reported on the timeline. Okay, then the question becomes, how do you build this thing? Okay, I'm going to go back to my dashboard for a second. And we'll see if we can create one super quick. I'm going to hit create a new Glog. I'm going to just do it vertical. Again, it's kind of helpful that way because then you guys actually understand structure. Okay, apparently I don't want to do vertical. Okay, so it's misbehaving today. This happens, walk away, come back to it in 10 minutes. Okay, so 2 minutes later, after taking a break, it worked. So if I start on this basic vertical page, okay, I can, you'll see I can edit these. So you'll see if I double click in there, I can start with intro, and then I could write my intro underneath there. Okay, of course you can always change the sizing, etc. of your stuff. Change coloration. You always want to follow the best practices in visual literacy still. Okay, if I don't like smiley faces, I can put the smiley face in the trash. If, for instance, this seems to be a little too crooked for my liking, and I want to put it in order, I can put it in order by clicking on one of these frames. If I want to type in here, you see, what? I can't type in there. So if I need to add structure, I can X out of there for a second. If I click on here, double click in, you'll get your toolbar. Okay. So if I want to add something with text, so simple ABC text, and I hit use it, there we go. I've created two of them now. And I can put this over top of the paper. Of course, I could stretch out the paper to try to make things work a little bit better if I want to. Double click in there. It gets back to the text tool. Nice. Okay, because it's actually clicking on the back there. There we go. Double click in. Step 1. Again, you want to kind of draw things in a linear order for the students. Then you describe the process. To create a link, I go in there and I'd highlight it. And what I do is I drop the hyperlink in here. So if I do, now remember, students aren't supposed to be using wikis. They're not supposed to be using search engines. So what you want to do is provide the links to them that they're going to use for the process. Click off of that, you'll see it's not going to work yet, not until we publish it, okay? But you can create a hyperlink anywhere in there with that type of text frame, okay? Okay, if we look at a few other things, so if I wanted to put, for instance, graphics in, I can drop some graphics in like this. Directs them from one place to another. Again, you've got a lot of different graphics as you click through here, and you can actually go over. Images, if you want to upload an image, you can. So basically, you'd hit the upload. It'll create a browse dialog. Okay, and then you'd upload the image that you're looking for. So if I want to upload that one because it's meaningful, I could. Okay. The wall changes the background image. Just be careful with contrast because you don't want to, shoot yourself in the foot because nothing can be read. Okay. Audio, you could upload a soundbite. So basically, you can upload an MP3 file or something if you need that running in the background. Again, you want to make sure it's accessible as possible. If you want to insert video, I highly suggest that you upload it to YouTube first to make it stable, and then I can type in there voice recognition Scotland, and apparently I am looking for voice recognition, but it doesn't want to link to it. So I'll go to my videos, go back to YouTube for a second, go to most viewed, search for videos. And it doesn't want to search. So at that point, I'd probably switch browsers, or you can log into your YouTube after you've bookmarked them. I'm just going to show you by example here what it's going to look like. So I can throw that in like that. If I want to, I can spin it. Okay, it's going to make for awkward viewing like that. But you put it in a place that's going to be appropriate too, right? So we don't have things that are too overlapping. Also, if you want to